Welcome back, everyone. This is the Oracle Decodes The Chariot and the Strength cards from the Tarot deck. In this decoding, we're going to take a look at our next two cards from the Tarot deck from where we left off in our previous decoding, the Oracle Decodes Alternate Timelines, 9/11, the Lovers, and the Tower, Back to the Future again. So we're going to pick up from there and take a look at the number 7 card, the Chariot, and the number 8 card, the Strength card from the Tarot deck. So as we've been learning over several previous decodings, the Tarot deck encodes for a specific way to keep a calendar. According to the sky story found when looking up at what we've discovered is that very special place in the sky that I've been calling the real oracle or the real all-seeing eye. Specifically, the Tarot deck tells us to begin at high noon on the summer solstice. Now, the reason we're finding the summer solstice is chosen as a starting place in so many sky stories that we've been decoding is because the summer solstice happens to be the longest day or the shortest night of the year. So, longest amount of daytime hours and shortest amount of nighttime hours. But it's also when we find the sun is reaching its highest zenith, or in other words, the highest point in the sky that it will reach all year. At high noon on summer solstice, specifically, is the sun's highest zenith that it reaches in the sky that it does all year. So remember, we've already decoded up to Tarot card number 6, the Lovers, and we found out how the Lovers card corresponds not only to the constellation of Gemini, but also to the planet Venus, found in the constellation of Gemini in year 2 of Venus's 8-year cycle, as we looked at before. Now, we're going to look at this same 8-year cycle again, but from a different perspective, but one that we've also looked at in our previous decoding. So the planet Venus's travels will continue, as we're going to see, to be tracked by the Tarot deck as we're going to take a look now at the sky story going forward from the summer solstice time of year to, again, the 9/11 time of year. And you're going to find out why this time of year is so special. So as we've looked at in a previous decoding, where we left off decoding the Lover's card, we're going to take a look again at that 8-year cycle of the planet Venus from this 9/11 time of year perspective, because that's going to help us decode the next two cards in order of the Tarot deck, starting with the number 7 card, the Chariot. So remember, when we're beginning on year 1 of Venus's 8-year cycle, on what we commonly call September 11th of 2020, it's there that we find Venus right in the middle of the constellation of Cancer. Note that the sun is just below the belly of Leo, or the lion, found right at that special crossing point of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic. And looking at the sky story picture in comparison with the number 7 card of the Tarot deck, the Chariot, we can see that it's this alignment that's being encoded on the card. So again, notice the background of the Chariot card is that same sunny yellow that we've seen before, symbolizing the light of the sun. This matches the noontime sky that we're looking at here. The Chariot driver is wearing a crown with an 8-pointed star in the middle. And notice behind him that his chariot is draped in fabric with many of those same 8-pointed stars. The 8-pointed star encodes for the planet Venus, a star with 8 points, pointing to Venus's 8-year cycle that we're tracking again here. The Chariot is in front of a castle. As you can see, that castle's fading into the background of the Tarot card, and that corresponds to the constellation of Cancer's location, just past that special crossing point of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic in the sky story. You can see that Cancer is found on what we commonly call September 11th of 2020 to be holding Venus right in the middle in year 1 of Venus's 8-year cycle. The shape of the constellation of Cancer could also have been reimagined, just like we've seen before, to look like a set of wings. And as you can see, that's what's encoded on the front of the Chariot, that pair of wings, where you can see is located on the Chariot card of the Tarot deck. And then we have these 2 sphinxes on the front of the Chariot, and this is encoding 2 things here, as we're going to see. Just like there's 2 sphinxes on the card. So remember first, in our decoding of the Great Sphinx that we looked at, in our previous decoding when we were looking at the riddle of the Sphinx, we found that the lion, or Leo, that part is the lion part of the Sphinx. Now, where do you find Leo the lion at this time in the sky story? Well, it happens to be right at that special crossing point of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic. Notice the sun, as you can see, or we're going to find out these two sphinxes being black and white, are corresponding also to this 8-year cycle of the planet Venus and where she is found when. So as she begins year 1 of her 8-year cycle, you can see that during the 9/11 time of year, the planet Venus is found right in the middle of the constellation of Cancer. Now, as we've done before, we're going to go ahead year over year, looking now at the second year of Venus's 8-year cycle from the perspective of the 9/11 time of year. Here, in year 2, we find the planet Venus at the feet of the constellation of Virgo the Virgin, with the sun, again, located in what we've already seen, could be described as being in the belly of Leo, the lion, but also could be described as being found in Virgo's outstretched hand in the sky story picture, right? Well, this is what the number 8 card, the Strength card, is encoding. So let's break it down. The Strength card also shows that same sunny yellow background, indicating the noontime sky again that we're looking at. And notice that there is an infinity symbol or a figure 8 symbol above the woman's, and this woman is corresponding to Virgo the Virgin. But this infinity or figure 8 symbol, not only is it matching the number 8 card itself, the Strength card, but we've also seen this infinity symbol before. Remember when we decoded the number 1 card, the Magician? And there we saw this same figure 8 above the Magician's head, this analemma shape. This analemma is what we saw before. If you take a series of snapshots of the sun's location in the sky at the same time of day, and let's say you choose to do this monthly. So you take 12 different shots of the sun in the sky at the same time of day. When you merge those shots together, what you see is that the travels of the sun in the sky forms this figure 8, this infinity symbol, or what is known as an analemma. So you can see that here again above the woman's head on the Strength card. As you can see in the sky story, here on year 2 of Venus's 8-year cycle, Leo the lion is at the cross of the north-south meridian line in the arc of the ecliptic, with the sun that could be described as in Leo's belly. And the planet Venus is found to be at Virgo's feet, which is why on the Strength card, you're starting to see that there's both representations of Virgo as the woman and Leo, obviously, as the lion on the number 8 Strength card of the tarot. So now as we go forward to year 3 in Venus's 8-year cycle, you find the planet Venus in alignment with the sun at the belly of Leo, right at the cross of the north-south meridian line in the arc of the ecliptic, and you can see that it is this exact alignment that is being encoded on the number 8 card, Strength of the tarot. In year 4 of Venus's 8-year cycle, or again halfway through it, as we've seen before, we're going to find Venus back again in the constellation of Cancer. This alignment again corresponds to the number 7 card, the Chariot of the tarot. You can see they're going to bounce back and forth here. Year 5 of Venus's 8-year cycle, during the same 9/11 time of year, we find the planet Venus back in the constellation of Virgo, corresponding with the Strength card again. Year 6, we find Venus in between the constellations of Leo and Cancer, corresponding, as you're seeing more clearly, this bouncing back and forth between the two sphinxes on the Chariot card of the tarot. Year 7 of Venus's 8-year cycle, we find Venus back in the constellation of Virgo at her feet, corresponding again to the Strength card. And in year 8, completing Venus's 8-year cycle, we find Venus again in alignment with the sun, located in the belly of Leo the lion and in the hand of Virgo the Virgin. Again, corresponding to the Strength card of the Tarot and the ending of Venus's 8-year cycle before it begins again. So during the 9/11 time of year, watching the 8-year cycle of Venus in the sky story, you can see that this 8-year cycle of Venus repeats again and again, where it bounces between the number 7 and the number 8 cards of the Tarot deck, beginning with the Chariot and going halfway through, found there again, corresponding, remember, to those black and white sphinxes that they are squeezing the imagery of the sky story we're finding with Leo, right? Found to be at that special crossing point of the north-south meridian line in the arc of the ecliptic. The 8-year cycle of Venus ends with the number 8 card of the Tarot deck, Strength, before Venus's 8-year cycle begins again. And with that, we're going to end things here in this piece. But until we begin again in our next decoding, be well.